sense. London Faversham. And what I'm going to do is switch the camera off now, so that it doesn't get in the way while we're editing. Where was our train? It's called Twitch Test or something. Twitch Test. Edit. Good. So the scenario, we started the scenario yesterday. It features a class 395 player train, some AI trains coming in the other direction, and there's a failed train. The basics, setting all the things up, setting all the career scores up, and yeah, so we've covered pretty much the basics for a passenger scenario. Once we've cleaned this scenario off, then perhaps later on in the week I'm going to have a look at doing a freight-based scenario, and then once we've finished that one, I'm going to look at doing something else just to demonstrate how you use scripting in a scenario. Right, so we have a bit of a list of things that I want to do to this scenario. So let me switch back to live game and I'm going to change the promo. Okay, except the camera's come back, hasn't it? Let me take that off. Right. So, let's take a look here. So one of the things that I wanted to do, based on feedback on YouTube for the first video, was change it so that it was daylight, because you know what, you can't see anything at night. It proved a point. Now, what we do have to do here is, this is going to make life rather difficult, because if we change the time of day, then all the AI services, the player services, all need to be retimed as well. If you can possibly avoid doing this with your scenarios, then try and avoid doing it. But if you want to, it's possible. So the time of day, remember this dialog box, this flyout comes out all the time when you first start the editing of the scenario. If you need to get back to this, then my recommendation is to come out of the editor and go back in again. You can get to it, but it can be a little bit more tricky. So the easiest way is to come out and go back in again. And yeah, destination displays is one of the tasks. So let's change it to 3 o'clock. So we've changed the time of day for the scenario. Now we have to go and change all the services to match. So if you remember, on the top here we've got a list of all the possible player services. So player consist, service 1, 2 and 3. And now what we want to do is edit this here and change that to 1500. So where it's going to get tricky is the next one, I think. So we changed 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, but that's 9:03. So it's not 1500. I haven't got the button down, have I? So it's 50. Instead of being 2100 to 1500, it's 2103 to 1503. Okay. So that's set that up. We'll recalculate everything in just a minute, but we need all the services done first, because at the moment it's trying to recalculate things that just aren't finished. So we'll do 1500 here. That's that one done. And then we'll do the last one. So if you're making a big change like this, don't panic if things don't make sense until you've done the last change. If we now go back to player consist, that's now making sense. It's got everything in the 3 o'clock range. And if you do service 1, everything's making sense on here as well. So we're good for go with that. Now if I press the play button, save the scenario. Now what did I say yesterday? I said don't ever run the scenario and test the scenario straight from that. So, but what we have found now is we're now in the daytime, so we can even see the rain coming down. Excellent. So I'm going to edit now. Exit now, and go back into it, and just prove that all is still good. And that's the first change you wanted to make. The next change is destination displays. There are a few of those little engines that all look very similar. And that's actually a Hawthorne Leslie, if memory serves, and it's one of the packs that's on Marketplace. I think there's 1 or 2 packs of the little steam engines. So yeah, I mean, yes, there's 2 packs. One of them is the open back ones, one of them is the closed back ones. So it looks like we've changed the time of day. If we get moving, just want to prove that we see some AI to make sure that all is good. We should work on getting steam engines into your comfort zone, Unite. You know, that's there's much more gameplay in steam engines, certainly in my humble opinion. Although I must admit, some of the more the newer routes that we put out with the advanced signalling systems are quite fun. Right, let's get going. So what we should find as we come through here is there's one AI train that meets us coming out of the tunnel. I think at that point we'll just go back on and do the rest of our work, rather than replaying the scenario all night. Here he comes. So with a quick playthrough, and normally you would just now, having done a major change like that, you would actually definitely be well advised to replay the entire scenario. But for the sake of this, I'm reasonably confident all is good. So I'm just going to press the edit button. Now, if you remember rightly, pressing Control E takes you into the editor, into the world editor. Now you need to press the scenario tools button. Click yes, because going into scenario editor restarts the scenario. And once we're loaded, we'll be back where we were again, but at least it'll be daylight now. Just brightens the place up a bit. Now, destination boards. I would probably have been well served by actually reading the manual on the Javelin to find out what the right destination board is. But let's just have a play and see where we get. So at the moment, the destination board says Canterbury West, and the number of the loco is 395014. Now, these things are interlinked. So if we double click on the loco, you'll notice that it is in 395014 39141. Now, if we go down to the back of the loco, there's your 39141. Now, if you want to change that, I can just click that, change it to a 2, press enter, and the loco number changes. Yeah, so the same number, same thing applies over here. If I want that to be a different number, I can change it. I can just change that to 395. There you go, 395015. You can put anything you want in there. You can be really silly, but let's not. So I'm going to leave that. Actually, let's make it 395015. Right, now, the N at the front is the destination board. Now, a lot of locos use this standard of having a character somewhere in the number which tells you, cheers, Netris, uses the N, the letter somewhere in the number to actually indicate what the destination board is. So let's go and have a look, and we can actually see what that looks like. So if I say A, it says St Pancras International. So let's try something else. So that said N, so let's try H, Chatham. So that's nearly there. I, Rainham. Well, that's correct. That's where this train is going to, Rainham. So that was I. Now what's happened is down the side here, it's also now saying Rainham. Rainham. So down here, it still says Canterbury West. Notice we've got the same letter here. So I've just double clicked on the loco again, on the carriage. And if I change that to I, that now says Rainham. You know what? We have to do that on every single carriage. That one says Broadstairs, because when they start, they're random. So we need to just go through. Now what you can do is customize, teeth back in, every single loco number if you want to, and make sure it's absolutely prototypically correct. Although most people wouldn't tell the difference. So remember that for the future. X is not in use. That will be very useful for our failed train. And then this one's the last one on the other side. Two things to note on here. First is that it's I, and we change that to 5. Right, so it's now Rainham, and the other end of the unit now shows 395015 again. So we've set the number and all the destination boards on the player train. It makes no difference to gameplay, but it's something that people always appreciate when you put the extra detail in to make the destination board right. It's something that people always look for. So this train has a similar thing. So if we double click it again, you'll notice we've got the letter. Now the letter's not always at the beginning. Sometimes it's it's somewhere else in there, but generally it's a letter. So this train is going to Maidstone East apparently. I don't even know if that's remotely appropriate, but it might be. Let's have a look at what destinations we've got. Ashford International at the beginning of its journey. We've got for P, Paddock Wood. T, Tunbridge. Buccinator, it's amusing you say that they're not very realistic. They were fully recorded from a javelin with water being poured on the windows. So they're about as realistic as we could get them, to be honest. Might not sound like it, but you'd be surprised how many things that are real don't actually sound or look or feel real, but they actually are. Right, so we've set the destination to Victoria. The number will leave us 466013, and then we'll come down the back here, and we'll set this one as well to Victoria. That's it, and then we'll change that to V, and we'll change that to 466013. Right, let's carry on going down. Now the next train started at Rainham, was the first one we put in. So let's, rather than flying down there, let's just jump to Rainham. Very good, Buccinator. Right, so we've just arrived at, there we go, there's our train. So we're in Rainham, and there's the train we want to look at. Why did we make it an 8-car train? Ooh. Right, so here we're going to Margate. Actually, that's probably exactly the wrong way. So this train again, I think we'll send it to Victoria. V doesn't go to Victoria. Okay. T. No. H. Ooh. What destinations have we got for this one? Right, so what's happened here, you notice no numbers are showing up. It's because I've deleted too many digits. So what we do now is we nip up to the other end, and we'll grab that for the copy, and then we'll go down the other end. And paste it back in. So now we've got something that makes sense again. And that says it's going to Paddock Wood, and it says it's a Q. Let's change that to A. And that's now going to Victoria, which is where we wanted it to go. So we're going to leave that at 375917, which you can see up here. And again, the side bit here says London Victoria via Maidstone East. And then this one says the same thing, so we're okay. London Victoria via Bromley South. So this coach is going somewhere different, is it? Okay. So let's change that to A. Change that to A. Change that to A. Right, now, I've been a bit click happy here, it seems, and something's vanished, part of my train. So what we can do here is copy that, paste, and that gives us another one, and then we can slot it in the middle. Now the easiest thing here to do is not try and couple it up to two sides at once. So we'll paste it in. While we're here, let's change it to a Maidstone Victoria train. And then what we do is this button down here, so this radio button here, puts us up. Okay, so what if I click that? I just select one item. Yeah. So what I could do is control click and select all of the items I want. So click off that to clear it. Or if I select this button down here, I select everything, and then I can pick it up and I can move it around as a consist and then drag it, and that now couples up to that train. So that's repaired the damage that I caused there accidentally. These things are easy to do. The thing is not to panic, just to know how to fix it. So this one says it's Sittingbourne. Again, it's going the wrong way for Sittingbourne. Oh, I'm trying to. That's it. So if you get that problem, what you have to make sure is you're only selecting a single unit. If you okay, Doc, see you later. Right, I change that to Victoria. Right, so again we've picked up the consist, so let's couple it up to that side. I'm obviously not being careful enough with my mouse movements here, causing myself all sorts of problems. Right, so that one says something different, so let's do that one. And that should be A. Right, and this one, the last one, oh no, still needs changing. Okay, so everything's been changed, we've set some no-co numbers up, and you should know how to do that now. So the last one to look at on this task is the one that failed, which is sitting in Gillingham. Good, so we've arrived at Gillingham, and there's actually there's two more trains here, but I'm not going to worry about that one for the time being. So this one, I'm going to mark it as not in service. So we do that by setting it to X. Now what letters go to what destinations? Potentially different in every train. So you might need to experiment, or you should find all the details you need in the manual. Unfortunately, there's no way of bulk setting it, since each loco has, or each unit has its own custom setting. I've done it again. I think it's because I'm holding the F10 key down that this thing's having a problem. Right, so again, don't try and couple up to both sides, you're asking for trouble. Multi-select, grab that, and buffer it up. There you go. Let's fix that damage. Right, let's do the next carriage, and this time I'll remember to release the F10 key. Is that one done? That one's already set to not in use, that's handy. Right, so we've now set the train up. We've got a destination board set up, we've got numbers set up. So the next thing I want to do is put some scenery in that's unique to this scenario. So I think it might be nice if we've got something going on which is on the platform, maybe with an engineer or two. So we pick up down here and we have a look down here. Don't think a car park is going to help us particularly. So this is where you can have a look and see what options you've got to play with. You can see I'm moving things around and I can place them basically wherever I want. And I can lower it down till it intersects with the platform, and then it's on the ground. So this thing here, wherever it's yellow, it's going to move. So if I move like there gently, I've got those two arrows. Yellow means it's going to move around on the ground horizontally. If it's those ones, then it would move just in those directions. And similarly, if I just want that, then I can just do it in one direction. Okay. So the other thing is we can click that. Again, the same thing. We can rotate things around. I don't know if that's appropriate thing to have in here, but it's what I'm going to have in here. and let's have a portable cabin set up. There's more than a failed train at this rate, isn't it? And so we'll put the portal cabin in, and rotate that, and then we'll slot it in. Badly. That's it. And just looking for some people. I can't find any people. Okay, so we're not having any luck finding people. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. So you've seen how we could put some scenery items in. So these scenery items I've put in are actually only going to be visible now to this particular scenario. And cheers, Americano. Yes, we will go and unload the passengers. That's a very good point, Alex. That's a new feature in 15. No, I am not an interior designer, and this is why I am not going to show anybody how to do the art side of building a route, because plainly that is a disaster waiting to happen. But what I will do is I just want to put a little bit of scenery, extra scenery here. Concrete blocks. So there we go. So let's put some concrete blocks here, since we're not going to be using this bit of line, and then raise them up so that they're above the ground and visible. So point is, when you're doing it, you can take a bit more time over it, you can work out what fits your scenario. But I think if you're going to make, say, a line is no longer in use, it would be really good if there was a visible reason why that line is no longer in use. It's a simple thing, but it makes a big difference if when you're driving along and it says, oh, there's a tree fallen on the route, on the line, and there's no tree fallen on the line. People immediately see through your ploy. So we've now littered that line up with some garbage. Sure. Look under the man face symbol. Yeah, I looked under the man face symbol, and there are no people under the man face symbol. No, nothing at all. So that is that. Now the other thing Alex just very kindly mentioned is passengers. So at the moment there are passengers in here. When I click here, I think that makes it broken engine. So it's the driver, sorry, that we need to do. So in the driver icon, it's this tick box here, which says unloaded at start. So if I click that, then when we run this scenario, all these passengers should disappear. We can prove that when we get there. Right, so I'm happy with this scenario. Now this has actually fixed a lot of the issues that I have with it. Let's give it one quick playthrough and then we'll publish it, and then we'll be done. Don't forget, don't test your scenario by pressing the play button. Once it's loaded, exit it and come back in again. It was having to reload the scenery there because I was my last place was actually the last place the camera was over in Gillingham, so I had to reload the scenery to get me back there. So the scenario is now loading, and all being well, yay, I'm back. Hello. Right. Will there be an FSX stream prior to release? I don't know. I wouldn't expect so, but I will probably try and make sure that I stream on release night. Welcome to this test scenario. Please open the doors and press T and then proceed to chat on. Okay, we've opened the doors. Step, put the reverser in forwards. Get the wipers going, because I know everyone loves the wipers. Headlights are on, so we're in good order, ready to proceed. Right, so we're clear to go. Let's get moving. Next stop is Chatham. Hey, Player Hannes. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us this evening. So we're doing a scenario creation tutorial if you've just joined us, and this is pretty much the finished article. The first part was last night, and you can see the video for that on YouTube. Link is at the top. Tonight we've just finished off a bit of tidying up on the scenario. Going through a bit of a dark tunnel here, but don't worry. Yeah, so we finished up, did a bit of tidying up on the scenario. This is our final playthrough, and if all is good, we'll upload it to Steam Workshop. Just coming into Chatham Station now. So we're about 30 seconds ahead of schedule right now. If we're not careful, we're going to overrun the station. Open the doors and get ready to proceed. I'm using all live code, Alex, so I'm not sure why you'd be seeing something different. That is puzzling. Yeah, very puzzling. So there's a failed train in front of me in Gillingham, and I'll be routed around it and run on the long line afterwards for a short time. Good, so let's get moving. Yes, I don't know quite why you're seeing something different. Have you done a verify files to make sure all is good? The other thing you could try is deleting your copy of London Faversham and reinstalling it, just to force the download, basically. I can't think of any other reason why your code would be different to mine. I never run the beta versions of live code. I do have beta content that is unreleased on here, but I don't have beta versions of live code. So the trains I drive should be the same trains that you've got. So next stop is Gillingham in 1.3 miles, and if you have been with us for the creation of this scenario, you will remember that there is a little bit of a problem coming up with a failed train, just to make life a little bit more difficult. Oh, I've done some speeding in my own scenario. Right, I was waffling at the time and not watching the speed. Yes, so we're going to come up against a set of stop signals on the approach to Gillingham, so we do need to be aware of that. In fact, here we go. There was the AWS alarm for the first of them, and the next signals are red, so we'll be stopping in 0.66 of a mile. Hey there, Paul T, welcome to the channel. So we have now got visibility of the signal just there in the distance. If I zoom in, so you can see the signals are red, so we can just stroll up to it gently. I am very good, thank you, Porty. I hope you are well too. Right, so we're stopped here at a red signal, and we're waiting for an oncoming train to come and clear the section to allow us to run wrong line for a little while down to Rainham, which is where this train will actually terminate. Someone asked whether my Dovetail account RSMapP was actually left in. Yeah, I do. I leave everything on all night so that I can access it from home anytime I need to catch up on something. So sitting in a red light now. There is a we need to run over onto the wrong line. Mac and cheese, train boy, excellent. It's food of champions. What train is this? We've got a moment, so let's go and have a look. This is the Class 395, also known as the Javelin, is its nickname. It's pretty much one of the fastest trains in the UK. Runs at speeds of up to 225 kilometres an hour, and pretty predominantly runs, or only runs at the moment, certainly in the Kent area. So it runs the line from St Pancras down HS1 and into the Kent area. Well, lights actually are on, train boy, you just can't really see them from the cab. Right, so there comes the oncoming train. That clears the line for us to proceed. No, it said my lights were on. Let's turn them on. Right, we've now got the signal to proceed. Interesting, I wonder why H1 has my lights turned off. It's probably one of those things that if I read the manual, I would find out. So we've got an amber indication with a feather, so we're changing over here. Now, one of the things that you should see as we come in here is all of the debris and rubbish that I've put on the track. So if you keep an eye out on the line that we're avoiding, you'll see that there is stuff on the line. So all of a sudden the route actually feels a bit different. So if you can customise your scenarios with a bit of extra scenery on them, it does actually make it a lot more believable for people. And I tend to enjoy it more. It's a simple thing to do. So just pulling into Gillingham now. Now the other thing we should see is some of the wonderful design work that I've done on the station here to modify it with a porter cabin, because when there's a failed train, immediately they put a porter cabin on the track, on the passenger on the station. No, they don't do that. We have our not in use train, which suspiciously looks like it's still got people in it. Am I seeing things? Let me go and have a look. It does have people in it. Interesting. Okay, I shall have to raise that and find out what's going on there. Okay, so we've just done a passenger stop. I will find out why that doesn't work. Now again, as I said yesterday, because of the way the scenario is set up, we're driving counter to the signalling system in some respects. We haven't introduced ourselves properly, which means that the signal at the end of the platform is red, and we will need to get permission from the dispatcher to proceed through it. So ideally in the scenario you would update this and put a mess prompt in there, but for the sake of this we're not going to. So we press tab, we get permission, and then we continue. Next stop is the final stop at Rainham. Cheers, Buckinator. Thanks for joining us this evening. So I've got the 90 miles per hour. What I am going to do is I'm going to make a quick edit to this scenario. Why is the green screen going nuts? I'm going to make a quick edit to this scenario, so as to add a quick note that you need to press tab at that thing. Otherwise, I can see people getting stuck at that red light and not knowing what to do. And you should always think about that. Anytime someone might get confused, you should certainly not assume, and make sure your scenario tells them what to do. Just come around the curve, we've got Raynham will be just in front of us, and then we can come to a stop. Just coming under Smarts Crossing. Just pulling into Raynham Station now. I'm very slightly late, but not too bad. Open the doors, and then should be the end of this playthrough. So like I said, we're going to make one more small change. We won't play test it after that small change, although you should. And then we'll look at the upload process, which is pretty slick and easy. One thing we're going to need is a screenshot. Let's quickly do that. We weren't quite fast enough. We'll have to do that another time round. So let's replay the scenario and then go into edit. So we'll just grab the screenshot here. That's good, with the castle and the cathedral in the background. Grab the screenshot. Right, now, let's go into the editor. So the next thing we need to do is scenario mode. Now we'll edit the timetable settings and player consist. And then here, before we went to Gillingham, we had a message box. There is a failed train in front of you in Gillingham. You'll be reached around it along the long line upwards for a short time. And then we'll put after this. So that's put a message in there. It's not fabulous, but it's a message, and it does tell them to press tab to depart Gillingham station. Excellent. So that's that done. Right. Let's just make sure it all loads okay. Hey there, Joint and Jay Jordan. Good. Scenario loads okay. Let's go and get it published on Steam Workshop, and then we're finished.